It's time to get outdoors on WHTL. Are you ready? From the deepest woods, the open waters, from the rocky trails to the snowy tracks. If it happens outdoors, we're talking about it. From fishing to hiking to hunting to trail riding, we cover it all. Brought to you by Petrick Service Station, Holden Sporting Goods, Black River Express, Low Hardware, the Levis Drum Rail Riders, the Elk Ride and Gun Club, Triplo County Economic Development and Tourism, and the Associated Conservation Clubs with Triplo County. So tighten up your boots, check your hook, and fire up the engine. The adventure starts now.
That is right. The adventure does start now, and by looking outdoors, you might not want to get out there because you probably spent too much time out there shoveling. But I got a special guest in the studio. Last time he was in here, he said he was hoping that this time he'd be able to do some fishing on the way home, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Not today. Not today.
So yeah. I am joined by Peter Jonas. Thank you so much for coming in this morning, sir. How are you?
I am awesome, and always great to be here at WHTL.
Yeah, but you don't have a sore back from all shoveling or anything? Or
No. My battery-powered snowblower, I found out what its capacity is, and think I maxed it out.
You did, huh? Yeah. I think that's a lot of people, a lot of plows.
Yeah.
And it's been a mess, but before we get started, I just want to say thanks to all the people out there who have been plowing, all the neighbors that have been helping neighbors out. It really just shows what a great community we have here in the Trempealeau Valley. Absolutely. And, you know, they're not allowed to keep regular hours. I mean, the folks that run those trucks are sometimes out in the middle of the night, and it keeps things moving. Yes, they do. So, well, what do you have for me today, Peter? I see you got lots of great notes. We got lots of things we've been talking about already, so let's talk about them on the air.
You bet. Well, I think the most important thing that probably the listeners can be alerted to is that there has been a change in the general opening day for the trout season where you can harvest trout. And customarily, it's always been the first Saturday of May, but this year it's going to be the first Saturday of April, April 4th. So give folks another month to enjoy trout fishing, and certainly for people who maybe are more pan fishermen or walleye anglers, gives them a chance to maybe do a little trout season before those periods start. So we're hoping that will be a good experience for everybody.
Yeah, and I know there's, just talking to people from the ice fishing circuit, there's a lot of people, they'll jump from ice fishing to regular fishing, and they are out there, and a lot of them, they like putting fish in their freezer, and that is why.
Yep. And I think, you know, we can absorb. One of the reasons that the DNR made the decision to change the opener is that fewer and fewer people are harvesting trout, and I think this is something we've talked about previously. So, you know, certainly it's a great opportunity if you like to harvest some fish to do that. And I do have, I guess, my own feeling is, you know, better to harvest fish under, say, 14 inches or so, because those, once they start getting up 15 inches and higher, those fish are quite the specimens in our streams. So might want to think about releasing those, but, you know, our streams can really absorb quite a bit of harvest. So hope people can take advantage of that and enjoy a good time.
Yep. And, you know, like you said, there is less fishermen out there, it seems like. And I know from being on land conservation on Jackson County, that some of those rivers where they've gone through and they've helped clear and clean up with the riprap and stuff like that, and they allow for fishermen to come through. A lot of farmers are concerned, I'm going to have people out there fishing on my river. And we've had farmers out there that have had this done for 5 years, and they've never once had someone fishing out there, which is sad to see, but, you know.
Yeah, it is. And we do try to really say, you know, when you are on a public easement on private land, to be respectful, because that landowner has extended him or herself to offer that, and so to really treat that as kind of a sacred place, you know. And when I first started in Trout Unlimited, we used to do a spring cleanup every year. And we would haul away truckloads of stuff, like old sofas and tires and unbelievable washing machines, unbelievable the stuff we pulled out of streams. Nowadays, we don't even do those stream cleanups anymore because I think the thinking of people has really changed, and there's just no need for it. I mean, you have an occasional bad actor, but by and large, people are, I think, pretty respectful of being aware of where they're at. I do want to bring up, it raises a good question, though. Where do you go fishing? I mean, one of the reasons I started trout fishing, I was thinking about this, was, when I got the itch to get back into fishing as a young adult, I didn't have a boat and didn't know anybody who had a boat. So, and the way I started, I'd not recommend. We lived in eastern Wisconsin at the time, and probably some of the better fishing in that region is around Watoma and Nishkoro and that area we call the Central Sands. So I got my fishing gear together and I went over to a small bar in Nishkoro, and I thought, maybe somebody in there knows something about don't know why I thought there'd maybe be some kind of expert in the bar in Nishkoro, but and you know what, Brian? Sure enough, there were experts in that bar. How about that? and they gave me some ideas about fishing, and I'll tell you something else. They turned out to be experts on a whole host of other topics that a young, impressionable man like me, they felt like I needed to know about.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So I didn't get fishing that day. I don't know why, but eventually that's how. So it was a bit unsystematic, my method of figuring it out. But there are probably some better ways. One of them would be to come to our next chapter meeting of Trout Unlimited at the Brewing Project in Eau Claire, Thursday, April 9th. We're going to have Zach Wyack, who's the DNR biologist here in Buffalo, Trempealeau, Jackson County, and the supervisor of the Black River office there, Dan Hadley. And one of the things Zach will do is everywhere that he's been surveying, they electrofish for trout to keep track of the populations and this sort of thing. He shares that data with us. So you can at least find out where Zach found trout. You may or may not be able to catch them because most of us don't fish with an electrical probe like Zach does, but that might be a great way to meet some people who are very keen on trout fishing and get some good scientific information on where some trout actually are. So that's Thursday, April 9th at 7 o'clock in the Brewing Project in Eau Claire.
All right. Well, in the tradition of Peter Jonas, you can go, it's more of a fancier bar.
Well, that's a good, I didn't realize that, but I guess.
So I guess that is a good place to go.
Yeah, the two, sure enough. I guess you learn something every day, There you are.
Yeah, so you said that was April
9th, Thursday, April 9th. So it'll be a little bit after the opener, but you can, there's plenty of trout season left after that because it goes till October 15th.
And it's not often that someone gives away the secret spots where all the fish are. So that's worth it just for that.
It is, it's pretty valuable information when you think about it because they're actually going down there and seeing what's what. So and they tend to do stretches of stream by bridge crossings and that to get their equipment in there and whatnot. But it'd give you a great idea about, what streams have either high populations of trout, if that's what you're looking for, or bigger trout, if that's what you're targeting, just a great, or brook trout or brown trout, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So great opportunity.
Yeah, that's great.
There are a few other ways that you can kind of learn where to fish. One of the things that makes our area unique is that most of the easements are not owned by the DNR in our area on trout streams. They're owned either by the counties or by our outdoor clubs. Even though Trout Unlimited no longer carries, we don't have new easements, but we have a few historic easements that we picked up over the years, and those easements can be sometimes hard to find. There's a piece of software called Trout Routes. It's a subscription service. That's actually a pretty good, it's an app on your phone, and that's actually quite good at locating those easements. Another great thing, of course, is to join your local rod and gun club, because as the easement holders, they obviously know where they are, and once they get to know you a little bit, feel comfortable with you, they might even tell you where they're at. And then finally, there is for Buffalo County, they have on their county website a list of their different public easements. And in Wisconsin, you can actually, we consider our navigable streams public resources. So you can get in a stream at any bridge crossing. But you are then required, if it's not a public easement, you're required to keep your feet in the water, basically. That's the rule there. But on a public fishing easement, you're able to go, either 20 or 60 feet from the riverbank, depending on where you're at. And that is advantageous in terms of being able to sneak up on fish a little better and be able to walk back on land rather than the stream and so forth.
And saying with some of those easements, I know sometimes farm owners or people, landowners, they worry about, I got to put this easement into, the county or, the state or DNR, however they do it. And they don't want to do that. But they can reach out to their, like you said, their local conservation clubs, reach out to your local conservation office in like Jackson County, Trempealeau County, and they can help with that, because you can keep it in local hands too if you are worried about that. But the easements, people are, like you said, there's not a lot of people out there fishing on them, which is sad, but they work really well, and it helps clean up our streams too.
And I think it is, trout anglers, especially us fly fishermen, sometimes have a reputation of being elitist, and I try to not, I just think, people can fish any way they want to fish. But one of the things, when you really think about it, is, trout fishing is really an egalitarian sport in the fact that you don't need the boat. You really need very little equipment to get going, and one of the things that I love about it is that I love a boat. I don't really love handling a boat. I do love when other people handle the boat for me. But I do love fishing on foot, just because it is a relatively easy way to enjoy the outdoors. And despite my appearance and the size of my gut, I'd like to think it's good for you, to be walking the streams and that sort of thing. So, good opportunity for folks.
And it's a good kind of a mental exercise too. When you're out in a boat with a bunch of people, you got all that extra noise, but if you're out on a stream here in Trempealeau County, a lot of times you're the only one there. So, you get a little peace of mind, maybe some time to reflect and think while you're doing that fishing.
It's one of the few things in life where I get totally absorbed in the moment. And I think that is the thing that I love most about fishing, is that it just takes me to another place where I'm not thinking about the tasks I've been procrastinating on, or the world's problems, or anything else. I'm just simply in that moment. And I do think, Brian, that above all is the thing that is most healing for me as an angler.
I think for most people too, it's we need to focus more on that moment thing, because they say anxiety is just worry about the past or the future. But if you're here right now, you're safe. Just focus on that.
It's one of the real gifts of it, is to let you just be in that presence. And I do think I work with an organization called Real Recovery, which we do retreats for men with cancer. And I've been a participant, and I've been a volunteer and a leader, a whole host of roles in that. And I can say, as a cancer survivor, there is something magical about that combination of fishing and bringing a group of people together with that kind of common experience. You know, if you just took 12 random guys and say, hey, we're going to sit around in a circle and talk about our cancer, I don't think most people are going to go for that. But you get them out fishing, and you get their minds to relax a little bit. And there is just absolutely something magical about that. Need to give a shout out to Tom Sather, who's a member of our board on Clearwater's Trout Unlimited. He is the local coordinator for our Real Recovery program, along with Scott Wagner from the Captawish chapter, and they do a fantastic job with our retreats that we have in the fall.
That's great. If people want to find out more, is there a website like realrecovery.com or anything?
Yep, you can go to realrecovery.com, and you can, right there on their website, actually get the application for a retreat if you are a person, a man with cancer. By the way, there is also a women's organization called Casting for Recovery, so it's worth noting about that. And that's also a place where you can volunteer, because we always look for what we call fishing buddies, which are people who take the participants out fishing, and that is a very rewarding thing to do.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And I'm sure it's Real Recovered, REEL?
Yes, it is REEL, Real Recovery.
Yep, that's pretty clever. I like that.
And it's a national movement, I should add, that we do. Since I've become engaged in it, I've become a facilitator, so I lead the small groups. And this year I'm going to a retreat in Kentucky and 2 retreats in Missouri. And we have retreats on both coast and out west and pretty much everywhere else. So it's a national movement. Really, to me, it's been very significant, and I know for many people, life-changing.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And, you know, when you're going through a hard time like that, it is good to have other people, or just to get out and away from the home and forget about the illness just for a moment.
Yep. And the great thing about it is that when you have, I've never spoke with such openness about my specific cancer symptoms as I have in a Real Recovery retreat, because you're all with people that have been through everything possibly imaginable. So, and then 30 seconds later, we're telling some weird stories or whatever shenanigans people are involved in. So it is just one of those things where it is a transformative experience. Great blessing.
That is wonderful. And we still got a little bit of time. You got a few more things you want to cover before we go?
I sure do. Want to mention that our chapter is having our fly fishing film fest that we are hosting along with Red Cedar Fly Fishing, the new fly shop in Menominee. It's going to be Friday, April 3rd at the Mabel Tainter Theater. Doors open at 5:30. Films start at 7. We're going to have a bunch. We're raffling off an unbelievable amount of prizes. Fly rods, guided trips. I know one of the trips is going to be a walleye trip on Lake Pepin, some fly fishing trips. Have you ever been to the Maple Tainter, Brian?
I have, and it is a beautiful old, I don't know how old that theater is, but it's got all the things you want from the past.
It is one of the most charming venues I think I have ever been in. It only seats about 260 people, I think, and it has the old-fashioned opera boxes on the sides and gold-painted fancy work all up on the ceilings. absolutely stunning architecturally. So we are so excited to be in this historic venue. And the films themselves they have tons of action and beautiful nature cinematography, and they also tell very compelling stories of people who have found meaning in the outdoor life and in what it brings. So I'm looking forward to the films and just drawing a big crowd around a common thing that we all share together, and also the chance to just win some incredible prizes in the raffles that we're doing.
Yeah, that's going to be great. When is that date again?
That date is Friday, April 3rd.
Okay.
I didn't set the date as a preacher. It is Good Friday. Yeah. Which, well, that's a whole nother story there, but but it's at 5:30, so we can find a daytime Good Friday service.
There you go.
And is when the doors open, and then it's going to start at 7. So very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, that is so great. Well, is there anything else you want to cover before we let you go today?
Yes. Want to mention that there is some legislation that has been introduced in our state legislature to raise the amount of money that the Trout stamp cost. It's recommending a $6 increase. And you might find it a little odd that a trout angler is looking to pay more for your trout stamp, but this is desperately needed. The trout stamp has been the same price, $10, for over 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And $10 just does not buy what it bought 20 years ago. And I can tell you firsthand that this is affecting our management of trout resources in Wisconsin. I think the fishing license in general needs to be raised, but that's another whole topic. It is affecting how many stream restoration projects the DNR can do. It's affecting how much law enforcement we have out there. It's affecting fish stocking. We all know.
Yeah.
You can't do with $10 what you did with $10 20 years ago. So I would urge anyone who is really committed to seeing our natural resources flourish to contact your legislators. This is a standalone bill. We've tried different strategies. This is the new strategy. It's a standalone bill. We're hoping to get past the $6 increase to raise the trout stamp from $10 to $16.
Yeah.
So encourage people to contact your local legislators.
Yep. And that is a great idea. I know from being on land conservation, there's always a need for more money to do things, and you can't do everything you want. So, it's always a budget crunch. So if they could raise a little bit more, just by a couple bucks more, I think people would pay that and be happy too.
I do, and I don't think there's any danger of this thing spiraling out of control cost-wise, because we've been trying to get this thing raised for about 5 years now. So I think if that's your anxiety, that boy, once they get the camel's nose in the tent, it's going to go. I think we've learned that that's not how this works. Yep. So we're hoping to get this thing shoved across the finish line in my lifetime. Yep. I would like to see. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, Peter, thank you so much for all the great work you guys do, and we will definitely get you back in here soon. We're running out of time here, but any last words before you go?
No, just I hope everyone has a fantastic fishing season. However, whether you fish panfish or bass, walleyes, trout, what have you, and if you're not an angler, I hope you can just get outside and love the great outdoors, because that's what's going to save us if we have a cadre of people that love this earth.
That is great. Peter Jonas, thank you so much for coming in today. We are going to get back into the hits right after the short break here on WHTL.
WHTL. Tough, reliable, and ready to work. You were born that way.